Welcome back to InfoWars Nightly News. This is Mike Adams, the Health Ranger, hosting tonight. Thank you for continuing to join us. We've always got really interesting breaking news for you here on InfoWars Nightly News. And tonight we have a special guest. He's a researcher and a contributing writer to Infowars.com. He's also the co-founder of naturalsociety.com. None other than Anthony Gucciardi, right here in the studio with breaking news about Monsanto and collusion with the USDA. Anthony, great to have you in the studio, man.
Thanks for having me, Mike.
Yeah, it's good to see you.
Yeah, we've got some amazing information, an exclusive letter actually, that shows Monsanto may have been planting genetically modified alfalfa and subsequently contaminating entire organic food supply, per se, before it was actually allowed and approved by the USDA.
Now, I understand you have letters that the public has never seen. They're being published here on InfoWars Nightly News first. And how did you come by these letters? I don't know how much you can share, actually, but yeah, what's the story?
Well, there's a lot of information. I can't obviously share everything with you. We've blocked out some of the personal information from the contact here, but we have a letter to the USDA from Cal West Seed Company explaining how Monsanto's Roundup Ready genes, which were from the alfalfa seeds, were actually being found before they were approved by the USDA, which was in 2005.
Okay, so wait a minute, if you don't mind me just paraphrasing.
Sure.
So this letter proves that the genetically modified alfalfa was being grown and harvested before it was ever approved by the USDA.
That's correct. Here we have in the letter, it says, we first discovered the unintended presence of the Roundup Ready gene in our conventional alfalfa seed in 2005. It would appear that there were a significant amount of Roundup Ready alfalfa seed in production in place in 2005 prior to deregulation, which is approval by the USDA. Given the nature of this crop, this is concerning to us. And this is to the USDA, so they were fully aware of it, and they didn't address this.
This is a smoking gun that proves collusion between the USDA and the genetically modified biotech industry then.
And it was being shipped also, you'll see here, to an organic seed supplier. So this could, and this was just one random testing.
Right.
And they just dismiss it. Could you imagine if the TSA found someone with a bomb in the airport, they would lock it down. But they don't even seem to care.
Well, that's a great metaphor, because this is really a genetic time bomb that is loose in the wild, just like you said, like a terrorist comes into the airport with a bomb in their pocket, let's say, or their underwear, as the TSA loves to check for. But this is a genetic time bomb in the crops, and this letter was sent to the USDA in what year? When did they get this?
It was between 2005 and 2007. They knew in 2005, and they received this particular one in 2007. So they had years and years to do something about it, but they just let Monsanto go.
Now, to your knowledge, and I know you're a great researcher, so I know you've checked this out, did the USDA ever admit, following this, that they had allowed Monsanto, or
No.
that Monsanto was doing this without approval?
The USDA says nothing on the issue.
Total
They
silence.
just completely ignore it, despite the fact that it could mean that organic food is being contaminated by GMOs. It could mean that traditional seeds were planted and just contaminating crops. And in fact, there's farmers now that are trying to sell their crops overseas, and they're being rejected because it has too high a percentage of GMO contamination inside of it. So they don't even know. It's really just widespread.
Now, on your website, naturalsociety.com, you've covered a lot about Monsanto and the USDA, GMOs, and so on. Does this, in your opinion, fit a pattern of collusion and cover-ups at the highest levels of government concerning GMOs?
Oh, absolutely. The USDA has a very serious relationship with Monsanto. In fact, they actually decided to hasten the period in which the crops are approved for use. So generally, they have safety testings that could last an extensive period of time. In some cases, as short as a month, which is ridiculous.
A month?
They have no idea what the long-term consequences are.
It's just a little sprout. I mean, what are they talking about?
That's absolutely nothing. But they're actually hastening it now because they want Monsanto to have the competitive financial edge, and it's actually here on a Bloomberg report. The goal is to cut in half the time needed to approve biotech crops from the current average of 3 years down way low. Approvals that took just 6 months in the 1990s have lengthened because of increased public interest, more legal challenges, and the advent of national organic food standards.
So we shouldn't have standards.
And they're saying that activism is causing a cog in the wheel. So it's actually showing how effective it is. They go on to say, they are trying to work the system so they can dismiss the public comments more quickly and easily in order to speed things up.
Well, how hard is it for them to hit delete right now anyway? What are they going to do, just hit delete faster?
And look at the Just Label It campaign. They had 1 million signatures, and the FDA said, sorry, doesn't count.
I remember that, right. You covered that. What did they deleted most of those signatures and just dumped it down to, what, 10,000 or something?
It was even lower than that. Yeah, it was in the hundreds, and they said, this doesn't count, sorry.
Anthony, so what we're seeing here, this is a clear example of total runaway corporate fascism. This is corporate controlled government for the benefit of the corporations that is betraying the interests of the people. In this case, betraying potentially the future of the food supply.
And highlighting activists as the root cause of the problem. They're saying we can't get the GMOs out quick enough because these pesky activists, these pesky individuals like us and Alex Jones, they're on air saying how bad they are. How dare they say that? They don't need testing. They don't need anything. This needs to get out right away, or else financial problems can come from Monsanto.
We should have a giant victory cheer right now then.
Yeah, it's actually good news. It's really good news.
Go out for all the nightly news viewers, because you have been effective. Alex has been effective. Your website, my website. As a team, we have been effective in throwing some wrenches into their machinery.
Here's a USDA representative in Bloomberg saying it's those activists. They're putting a cog in the wheel.
Those dang activists. How dare they tell the truth about GMOs? How dare they demand GMOs be labeled so that consumers can actually see what's in their food?
And then,
oh my God.
Exactly. And then when we're pushing for labeling, Monsanto says, oh, we'll sue you if you try to label it, because there's no difference at all.
They threatened Vermont, right?
Yeah.
With a lawsuit.
And as you mentioned once on naturalnews.com, you said if they were so proud of their crops, if they were so proud and they said they're so safe, why would they be against labeling it? They should show it off.
Do you happen to know what's the status of the Vermont situation with the labeling laws?
They're terrified. They don't want to be sued by Monsanto.
Who would? What action they're taking?
They're not taking much action at all.
So they're terrified.
Yeah, they're very terrified. Some of the legislators are going and they're saying, well, we're going to take approach. We're going to take a very slow approach. We'll look at everything. But Monsanto scared them off, for sure.
Well, now wait a minute. This reminds me of the situation in Texas, where the Texas legislature was ready to pass the laws that said we're going to outlaw TSA in Texas airports. Then the federal government comes in and says we're going to have an air embargo against the state of Texas. We'll have fighter jets shoot down airplanes or whatever they said. I mean, it was like almost a declaration of war. So now we have Monsanto threatening Vermont.
States' rights.
Not only that, but this is like a runaway corporate thug, where the corporation is more powerful than the state. I mean, George Orwell warned us about exactly that.
It's all tied in. It's all tied in. Here's F. William Engdahl. He says, in a June 1998 interview, USDA spokesman Willard Phelps defined the U.S. government policy on Terminator seeds, which is Monsanto seeds. Yeah. He explained that the USDA wanted technology to be, quote, widely licensed and made expeditiously available to many seed companies. So here we have them working together. They also went on, he meant agribusiness GMO giants like Monsanto, DuPont, or Dow. In this case, specifically Monsanto. The USDA was open about their reasons. They wanted to get the Terminator seeds into developing worlds where the Rockefeller Foundation had made eventual proliferation of genetically modified crops the heart of its GMO strategy from the beginning of its Rice Genome Project in 1984. So they're trying as hard as they possibly can to get these seeds in the third world nations, just explode the financial income, just get it out, because it's killing people worldwide for sure. We know that.
Well, I think there's a bigger question here, and I want to ask for your comments on this. This is also about corporate ownership over all property in nature. When we talk about corporate patents on genes and seeds and medicines and even animals, didn't Monsanto try to patent a pig? Maybe they even were awarded a patent. I don't remember.
They're going after chickens. They're going after many different things.
They want to own life.
Trees.
Trees, yes. They want to own everything. So the real risk here, even though GMOs themselves are a huge risk, isn't it also that we have a risk of living in a world that is entirely dominated by corporate ownership? And that ownership is enforced by government soldiers and henchmen at gunpoint.
Yes, it comes down to patents too, because when Monsanto plants genetically modified crops and they go over to the organic field next door and it starts contaminating the organic produce, then Monsanto owns that. Because it's patented seed. They're patenting life, and that's why India slammed them with biopiracy charges, because they're saying that they own something that you really can't own.
Well, my understanding is that presently about 20% of the human genome is owned by various research universities.
I think that's climbing now as well.
And corporations. Yeah, it might be.
I think it's even higher.
30%?
Yeah.
So think about this. When you have a baby, you are committing piracy according to the corporate lawyers. Just because you've replicated a patented genetic code and there's your baby, now you owe royalties to the corporation. If Monsanto can sue the farmer for the seeds, they could sue you for having babies.
How about when you eat genetically modified corn too? The expression of the genes in the corn goes into your own body, so you are essentially your patented technology as well. If you really want to get down to it, everything is patented, and it gets to a point where they can own basically everything.
They can claim ownership over your body.
Claim ownership. They
Right, they claim it.
They claim it.
Right, but of course, what people like you and I and Alex Jones and many others out there, the activists who are standing up for truth and fundamental human rights is what we're talking about here. We are, as this document admits, we are already achieving success at holding these people back. I want to ask you personally, because you are one of the younger individuals who's come on the scene as a really hardcore researcher. You've uncovered some really incredible breaking news. You deserve credit, and your website, naturalsociety.com, has done amazing work. What got you motivated to, to join the alternative media like this and be, you're putting yourself at some risk by putting your name out there and telling the truth. It's always risky in a dishonest world.
Particularly this document, actually.
So
come on the air. I'm very excited. I'm very excited to release this document. Well, I actually became sick about 7 years ago. I had a very debilitating disease. I had Lyme disease.
Oh yeah, that can
my doctor gave me steroids, which was very ineffective. I slept one day from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. the next day, and so I was sick. I thought I might die. Everyone around was freaking out about Lyme disease. What are we going to do? What's going to happen? So what I eventually did was I started taking colloidal silver, started taking oregano oil, started changing my life because I went online. And the internet is really the new paradigm of information, period.
Sure.
You can go talk to your doctor all you want, and he's probably going to feed you a bunch of lies. You go on the internet
and charge you prescription fees for them too.
Exactly. And that's not to say you can self-diagnose yourself on the internet with WebMD and everything like that. That's all to get you to go to your doctor anyway. But I started finding alternatives and started trying them and say, wow, these actually work. And then what happened was I went to my doctor and I said, I started taking this Supernatural Silver, which is a sponsor, actually. I found it on the Alex Jones Show. Started taking oregano oil, changing my diet, eating raw foods, 100% organic. And he said, oh, that's just a coincidence. It must have been the steroids.
Really? He told us it's a coincidence?
Just a complete coincidence.
Yeah, I had a doctor that told me that my cure of my pre-diabetic condition was wishful thinking.
Wishful thinking?
Yeah, it was wishful thinking.
Wow.
It's like, hey, where's Alex's magic wand? We need to wave that around here right now. Wave the magic wand, wishful thinking. Yours was a coincidence.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
And then we have hit pieces going out. I've actually told my story before, and I've had a hit piece from someone from Harvard. And they said, oh, well, that's impossible, blah, blah, blah. And they go and dissect my site, and they say, oh, Natural Society says that positive thinking can improve your health. Obviously, they're quacks.
That?
Yeah, they deny that. They say there's no evidence whatsoever. And then we have studies coming out that the people who wake up in the morning and think of positive things like a spring day or clouds, they eat more healthy throughout the day. They eat more raw foods. They exercise more because they feel empowered. But that's not true.
Well,
the mind is worthless.
You're not being effective until you get attacked.
Yes.
Then when they target you, then you're making an impact, Anthony. I'm fortunate that I have a really common name, Mike Adams. That's my real name. And so there are a lot of Mike Adams out there in the world. I've been accused of being a car thief, a crack dealer. There's a football player who's a Mike Adams.
I saw that, yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of Mike Adams out there. So your name is very unique. No one's going to find another Anthony Gucciardi, I think, out there.
Yeah, which is a big target.
Right.
You Google my name, who knows what you might see.
Oh, who knows? Yeah. Well, maybe we'll help you out. We'll link to you with your name to a page that tells the truth about your story.
Thank you.
How about that?
There we go.
Good. So let me ask you, is there anything else on this story about the Monsanto GMOs, first of all?
Absolutely. F. William Engdahl continues here. Oh, we have the magic wand. Let's wave it around.
Magic wand. This is, what about the fairy dust? Is there fairy dust that goes with this? All right, so next time, Anthony, next time you go to your doctor, take him this. Tell him this is what cured you of Lyme disease.
Magic wand.
Yes.
Anything besides colloidal silver, that's probably more likely in his eyes.
This is like something from the Renaissance Festival.
Yeah.
Like a real craftsman made
Maybe
this.
they might use that. An MD might use that to try and treat your cancer.
This is great. Okay, sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Engdahl continues, USDA's Phelps, which was the spokesman, stated that the U.S. government's goal in fostering the widest possible development of the Terminator technology was to increase the value of proprietary seed owned by U.S. seed companies and to open up new markets in the second and third world countries. So they're dispersing the seed.
Right.
Under WTO rules on free trade and agriculture, countries...
Genetic imperialism is what comes, GMO imperialism.
Yes.
That's the paraphrase of what you just read.
Exactly. Countries are forbidden to impose their own national health restrictions on GMO imports if it is deemed to be an unfair trade barrier.
Wow. Well, remember the WikiLeaks leaked some memos out of Spain where I believe it was the U.S. diplomats there that said if Spain doesn't go along with the GMO agenda, we will punish them.
Absolutely.
And those are their own words.
And it's even deeper than that. In fact, the report goes on to say that many U.S. diplomats, if not all, it doesn't specify that some do not, many, if not all, U.S. diplomats work directly for Monsanto.
Wow, can we highlight that? Put that document over here for the cam. Where is that?
Reporting work directly
Many U.S.
for Monsanto.
diplomats work directly for Monsanto.
And then we have someone who's good friends with George Bush saying that we'll start trade wars with anyone who doesn't agree that biotech needs to be put on the scene.
Yep, that's what they do. These laws are created to serve the global elite interests. That's what it's all about.
Is there any wonder why the USDA didn't respond to the damning letter that we have?
Well, so what do you think then, Anthony, as an activist, as one of the voices that's really making a difference in this realm, if we can't sign petitions that the USDA pays attention to, and I don't see any protests happening at the Monsanto headquarters right now, although there were protests in California.
They shut it down for a day.
Right. How can the people, and I mean the people on the right, on the left, in the middle, everywhere. This is not a Republican versus Democrat issue. This is the people, life on Earth, protecting the future of the genetic code of
in the
plants.
biosphere.
The entire planet. How can the people, in your view, actually stop these crimes against nature?
Well, they have to spread the information, get the documents out. But besides that, they have to start buying organic, GMO-free. They have to start emailing, calling their political leaders saying we demand labeling. And we need to stop being afraid of Monsanto. I've gotten death threats. I've gotten anonymous death threats. I've probably gotten 100 anonymous death threats, whether it be calling my personal cell phone, which no one has the number for, or getting emails saying, yeah.
Someone got your personal
cell phone number, left me a message from an unknown number. I tried to track it. We've had people attack our site from Russia with using a bunch of proxies, and they went in, they took down one of our biggest...
Welcome to the Russian hacker target club. Yeah, that's a good one. They always do that.
Denial of service attacks to U.S. They take down, they actually went into my website, and the only thing they took down was my article that was blowing up on Monsanto. That's it. They didn't take anything else down. What does that tell you? Why would a third party, a disinterested third party, hack the site and take down a Monsanto article?
No, the real hackers out there, the white hat hackers, which is really most hackers, they are anti-Monsanto. They're anti-corporate control. They're anti-fascism. They're anti-Fed Reserve. You know, the real hackers are mostly sort of libertarian, open source minded type of people, which is the kind of people that you and I are.
Exactly, and they would never do something like that. It's more the corrupt level of individuals that work for some type of military service. Or, they're paid.
We know. One day, Anthony, we all have to do a big expose of the paid trolls and hackers who are attacking all of these websites. They attack InfoWars, they attack Natural News, they attack Natural Society, they attack others, and they're only partially effective. And we built a lot of defenses in, and you have too. Your site's back up after they took it down that one time. I know InfoWars goes to great lengths to be protected against all of that. So they're not as effective as they would like to be.
And the reason they're doing this, though, is because we're spreading the information so well.
That's right.
And you see the comment list. I can check on my comment list, and there's 50 of the same IPs, the same computer. Someone typing comments like, "Oh, you idiot! Monsanto's great," and really vulgar comments, or death threats to me, or death threats to other people, or death threats to elected officials, so that someone will come to me and come to my house, knock on the door. Why are you having death threats on your website when it's actually them?
That happened to InfoWars. Alex talked about that. Someone had posted a death threat on their website, and then the FBI came knocking and visited InfoWars because some anonymous person had posted the death threat on.
And they say you said that because it's on your site, and that's how CISP and everything else could work like that. If you have something that someone writes on your website, so basically discussion will be censored. It'll be turned off. We'll have to turn it off because of the insane bills.
The other thing to watch out for, and we all have to be careful of this, all of us in the alternative information industry, is watch out for the trolls that try to create infighting. Like suppose someone goes onto your website and tries to get us arguing with each other. Let's say they say, "Oh, I'm from Natural News and I think you suck," or someone from your website does the same thing to me, and then they get us fighting with each other, which doesn't work because we know we're not that way.
Or how about someone submitting the incorrect story to both of us at the same time?
That's happened.
That's happened. We've spoken about that. Someone submitted an incorrect story to us, and we go ahead and we type it in, and it was falsified.
Right.
It was incorrect. And that's a perfect example of them infiltrating the camp.
I'd say to those watching this, I know we're getting into some really interesting behind-the-scenes kind of topics now, but those watching this may not really have a full idea of how much does go on behind the scenes. it's much more than just folks delivering the news and writing the stories and publishing the information. There are great lengths that we all have to go through for personal protection, for server protection, for information protection, because there are elements out there that are paid to discredit us, to attack us, to threaten us, to scare us, even maybe to try to physically attack us.
Oh, absolutely.
Which is why I carry concealed, man.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. Yeah. I mean, there's people out there, and look at the mother. The mother who attacked Monsanto in Argentina, she got them shut down nearby because the birth defect rate was so absurdly high. And there's also a lawsuit about the birth defects as a result of Monsanto's Roundup Ready, pesticides, everything like that, herbicides, the Roundup herbicide, which is destroying the entire biosphere, by the way. But then they go and they send her anonymous death threats too. It's just so obvious. And look at the kind of company we're dealing with, though. Here's one. Monsanto caught abusing workers in slave-like conditions. So not only are they modifying everything, despite the study showing that it's causing organ damage, specifically in the liver, which is highly important, but they're having slave-like conditions go on. Here's one.
And this was, Argentina, right?
Argentina. Yeah. So this agency raided them, and what they found was they're having the farmhands work illegally, preventing them from leaving the fields, and withheld their salaries. They had to detassel corn for 14 hours a day and buy their own food at inflated prices from the company store, which was probably modified.
Right? Yeah, like American history. This is indentured servitude in Argentina.
Absolutely, and this is the kind of organization the USDA is defending, giving speed trials for, and it shows their lack of concern for humans. I think that's enough right there. They're running slave rings. What do they care about human health?
By the way, you're wearing a Ron Paul shirt underneath there, aren't you?
I am.
Yeah, there it is, Ron Paul for you.
Absolutely.
I just wanted, people might think, what is that? That's Ron Paul.
Yeah, it's actually from InfoWars. It's an InfoWars shirt.
Oh, right on.
It says Infowars.com right here. Yeah, I've been wearing it for a while. You can see it's worn out. Wearing it around Austin here. Got a lot of, a lot of hugs and a lot of high fives. Yeah, a lot of Ron Paul stickers around here.
Everywhere that there's a Ron Paul event, it's crowded. There's thousands of people, standing room only, and then Obama launches his presidential campaign, and the stadium's abandoned.
Yeah, or they have Romney. They actually had to change the camera setup so it looked like the stadium was full when it was only one row of people.
Right.
And the whole entire stadium's empty. And you can't do that in the internet age. It was all over Twitter. Right. They had an empty stadium, and then it was just the few people that actually decided to go hear Romney speak.
But at what point, Anthony, does the public wake up and realize this whole thing is theater? That what's being spoon-fed to them by the mainstream media is theater. The security theater that's going on. The TSA is theater. They don't stop any real criminal elements. They've never caught a single terrorist, ever.
I think it's already happening. Look at this city of Austin. A lot of these people are fully aware of what's going on. Like I said, walking around with the Ron Paul shirt, people give you high fives, and the Fed, I've seen people walking around with just signs that say things like that. It's happening. When an entire city is mobilized like that, it means something. It means something really serious.
Well, that's true, and the truth about that is only coming out in what used to be called the alternative media. I got to say, I think we, the alternative media, are really the main. We are the main media now.
The only one worth anything.
We're the only real journalists actually doing anything. It's like, I know there are real journalists out there who work for papers, but they are censored by their editors, by their sponsors. So I'm not insulting those individual journalists, but they work in a system that controls what they say and doesn't allow them to print the truth.
I've dealt with good-hearted journalists, and we've had some articles on Monsanto go up on some major news outlets, and then their editors come in and they delete them the next day.
Sure.
And we've fussed about it too. We've made a big deal about it, and people have really stood behind it because it's no longer the age of censorship.
Censorship. Well, no, but you get it, Anthony. You get that the solution is to become the media.
Absolutely.
To be the media.
Yeah.
Don't bow down to that media letter to the editor at the New York Times. Forget the New York Times. The New York Times doesn't have any credibility among people who are informed anymore. Look at Gerald Celente. What does he say about the New York Times? What does he say about Fox News or CNN even? I mean, before they fired Freedom Watch Judge Napolitano, Fox News had some credibility, and then they fired that guy who was like the one truth teller left on the network, and now it's like, forget it, And
Celente goes on the major networks too, and he still says they're crap.
Yeah, he's just a fun guy. Yeah. He's one of my heroes out there. I love him.
Yeah, he's excellent.
Well, I want to thank you for taking the time to join us here tonight, Anthony, on InfoWars Nightly News. It's been great sharing some thoughts with you. Do you have any final thoughts before we wrap this up?
Well, I think it's time that the information is here. The information is out. Look at this letter. You know, this letter has been given to me by someone who's an extreme activist, and they're ready for this information to go. We have all we need. It's time to mobilize it. It's time to explain to your neighbors what it means, and it's time to really understand the depth of it, because we're exiting the information period of this whole entire issue. It's time to take serious action against Monsanto and everything else that's polluting the food supply. Well said, Anthony. And I want to encourage those watching to check out Anthony's website at naturalsociety.com. And he's absolutely right. It's time to focus on the things that matter. Stop watching Snooki on Jersey Shore, people. Turn your attention to things that really matter. Get into the documentation, get into the evidence that proves collusion between Monsanto and the USDA that went on for years, and it was well known and well documented now. These documents have come out thanks to your efforts and those the whistleblowers who gave you those documents. This is now factual, on the record information. And you're going to keep getting this kind of report right here on Infowars.com with Alex Jones, myself filling in from time to time, contributing writers like Anthony Gucciardi, and of course the regulars, Kurt Nimmo, Paul Joseph Watson, and many others. So thank you for joining us today. And by the way, there is a 15-day free trial that you can get at any time. Become a member of prisonplanet.tv. Get the videos instantly streamed to your computer or your mobile device. Watch anytime, 24/7, no limitations. You can also cancel anytime, no strings attached. Check it out. It's the best value for truthful information available anywhere on the internet. Thanks for joining us today. This is Mike Adams, the Health Ranger, filling in for Alex Jones on InfoWars Nightly News. Have a great weekend, everybody.
If you believe in this information and want to support its viral spread, go to the InfoWars store at Infowars.com. We've got the new G.I. Joe InfoWars t-shirts. We've got the incredible Pro Pure gravity-fed filters available at Infowars.com in the store. We've got a new DVD, Scientists Under Attack, the Don't Tread on Me flag. We've got all sorts of different bumper stickers to help spread the rebellion virally. It's all there, wristbands, citizen rule books in every order. Order online at Infowars.com today. The water filters, the canteens, it's all there. Infowars.com.